guys, welcome back to the channel and happy Easter. Now if you're new here, I'm Sarah, this is Nick, and we travel full time in our little old camper van, Vinny, with our two little doggies. Well, we were doing this up until about a month ago. You would have seen from our last few videos that we had to just take a sudden stop, a sudden halt to van life. We were in Portugal, we had to rush back to Spain, where we currently are, because of a certain
nasty little virus
pandemic that's taken over the world.
Yeah, before this global pandemic, we were pretty much full time, and we'd just come back from our second big trip around Europe. We basically spent the summer and 2 or 3 months in Portugal, and then we'd done 2 big trips, one just exploring sort of Central Europe and the other all the way up to the Arctic Circle. And previous to that, several years ago, we spent 2 years travelling around Australia, living and working, travelling around Australia in a van, and also New Zealand in a station wagon. So as you can probably tell, we love van life and travelling, and probably prefer that lifestyle to living in a house.
Yeah, like our full-time home is our van. So obviously now we are not in our van, we're in a house. We're in our house here in Andalusia.
So basically, to give you a quick rundown, flashback to how we ended up here. Basically 10 years ago, we went on a 3-year adventure to China, to Southeast Asia, and then we spent a lot of time in Australia and New Zealand. And while we're travelling towards the end of our adventure, we're kind of thinking, right, we've got to go back to Europe. And we lived in Spain for a few years before, Sarah for a lot more. And we were looking, there was cheap property here, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were kind of looking at certain areas in Andalusia where we could find a cheap property, find a base, do that up, work, save
for the next adventure.
Now
we could have got a van, but obviously if you're just getting your head down and working and saving money, you might as well have a house.
Yeah.
In Spain you can buy cheap houses, and in Australia we'd work really hard, pretty much like for 10 months of it we were working pretty much 7 days a week.
To save enough money to be able to buy a base. So that's what we did. We bought this house.
We got it for a bargain price, but it needed a lot of work.
We spent like 3, maybe even 4 years doing it up, living in a kind of building site, whilst working full time and saving every little bit of money we could for our next adventure, and firstly to buy a van.
And then 3 years ago we bought Vinny, our van, who's taken us on some crazy adventures.
So for the first kind of 6 months of having the van, we were just doing little trips and still continuing to work. But as soon as we started getting out on the road again, it was just like, we want to be doing this full time. We don't want to be like going off for a week or a couple of weeks and then having to come back and going back to work and then waiting. We just wanted to travel, and there's only so far you can go, isn't there, when you've got just a 2-week holiday. You know, we wanted to see the whole of Europe.
So we got to the point and we thought, okay, that's enough. We saved enough money. We can stop working and just go off for a few years.
Bearing in mind a very strict budget, of course.
Always. So we quit work, and basically after the first trip, we sort of just fell in love with it and thought, okay, we want to do this, for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
But we had a house. We had a house that we weren't using at all. We were off for like 10 months of the year and not using the house. We were thinking, well, what is the point in the house?
Yeah, it does seem crazy if you're in a van the whole time, you've got a house that's just sat there empty. So after that first trip, we came back and we said, right, let's see if we can rent the house out.
So we looked into Airbnb, as this would be the best option, because obviously you've still got the house for most of the year, so you can still come back to it if you want to.
Yeah.
But in Spain, everything's a lot harder to do. There's a lot of paperwork. You have to get licenses you have to apply for, and you have to wait 3 months for those. So you have to go through official channels on Guardia Civil, all this.
So basically, with us not being here, with us away travelling, we would have had to pay someone to sort out all of that kind of thing for us, come in and do the changeover, clean the house, get it ready for the next clients, that kind of thing. So if you weigh it up, it's quite difficult, and finding someone to trust who's up for doing all that for you isn't easy. Now, if we're in the area, living in a van somewhere, and we could come back and sort the house out, it would be a good option. The other option was to rent it out long term, find someone who could just come in here for like, you know, a year or longer, or even just do 6 months at a time, but that isn't that easy either.
Well, one, it's hard to find trustworthy tenants, as it would be anywhere that's, you know, you're going to leave in your home kind of thing.
And the second reason is it wouldn't actually be that lucrative to rent the house out full time as opposed to holiday rentals, because the area where we are, the rent isn't that high. So we kind of weighed up, what should we do? Trying to look if we could find some tenants, and in the end it didn't really work out.
In the end we were going off on the next trip, so we kind of ran out of time. And then people have said to us, why don't you just go full time and sell the house? Which is something we were really considering because we spent most of the time on the road.
And we're still, well, at the moment we're not considering it, obviously. But yeah, that's something we've always said, you know, if we just sell the house, then we'll obviously buy a bigger van, something much more suitable to live in full time, and then we'll just do what we love doing, which is travelling full time, the van life full time.
But the main reason, or pretty much the only reason we couldn't do this is because if we sell the house, we have no ties to Spain. Currently, we're residents, we've got our residencia, so we can live here, and everything
is here in Spain. You know, we've got bank accounts here, the house means that we own a property here, so we've got residencia. Nick's driving licence is a Spanish driving licence.
So now we're no longer working, so if we sold the house, there'd be no ties whatsoever to Spain.
Yeah, which means we would have to go back to the UK kind of full time as your home, you know. And,
which before Brexit was okay, but then the whole Brexit thing came about, you know, a few years ago, so that just completely messed that idea up, because if we sold the house, we'd have, you know, we'd be based in the UK, so then we put a bit high. We don't know what's going to happen, do we? Like, are there going to be a 3-month rule?
So basically, Brexit has left everything so uncertain for van lifers, British van lifers, British travellers like us who want to do this lifestyle. We've been living outside of the UK I've been living outside of the UK for 20 years. So going back to the UK as a full-time home, it just doesn't really seem right.
The more time you spend outside of the UK, the less it feels like home.
It's just too unfamiliar now, kind of thing. You know, it's everything. It's the culture. It's obviously the climate here is a lot different. I mean, I would just freeze to death in the UK. I'm so climatised and used to warmer temperatures now.
As is this little thing.
I was just going to say.
He is basically a solar dog, so he you're listening to me, aren't you? He needs the sun to charge up. Without the sun, he'll just be under
hibernating.
the covers.
He just literally hibernates. They're both Spanish dogs. They've lived here their entire lives, and I don't think they would like the change in country either. For all of these reasons, it's basically Brexit that made us say, right, yeah, we're not going to sell the house. We're going to just stay put for now anyway. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? You know, we might keep the house and then Brexit might blow over, and we might all still have the freedom that we've got before Brexit, and then we might decide to sell the house.
It's only this Brexit thing though, because now that just seems like a distant memory. You know, for all us Brits, it's been all that's been on the news and everyone's mind for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And now, you know, the COVID-19's hit the globe, the world, it's affecting everyone.
Yeah.
It just seems like
and I feel
under the carpet.
With the virus and with the way the world is now, I think like van life is even more uncertain, and it's actually quite worrying to think about. When are we going to have the freedom that we had before? Are we going to have the freedom that we had before? It is worrying. I mean, it's worrying for everyone, but I think this community, the van life community, is kind of definitely under quite a bit of...
On hold, isn't it, really?
Yeah, stress right now to know that when are things going to go back to normal, and are they going to go back to normal?
So we're seriously considering going full-time and worried about Brexit, but now Brexit... Before was a dark cloud, and now is that silver lining, because without Brexit, you know, we could have gone full time. We wouldn't have had this house.
We could have quite easily sold the house if it wasn't for Brexit.
And right at the moment,
we are really, really happy to have our house. If we were full time in our little van, I mean, we managed completely fine before all of this happened. We could easily just live in our van. You know, you've got the freedom to go where you want, when you want. You know, you just manage. We managed fine, but now, with this, what's happened, and you can't go where you want, when you want, and you are just confined to your van in a certain location, that for us would just not be much fun at all, really.
Because basically, although Vinny we made into a home, and he is a home, we spend most of the year in him, he is predominantly a vessel for travel, and if we can't travel, then we may as well just be in our house.
We may as well be in a house, yeah. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
But it's crazy to think a month ago we just had ultimate freedom, could go anywhere. Wasn't really thinking, well, no one thought this could happen, and now
no one thought. Isn't
in
it
lockdown
so
for a month.
crazy? It's just so crazy. Who would have thought that this is like the new norm right now at the moment, and for probably quite some time. Hopefully not. Hopefully, you know, it's going to kind of sort itself out quite quickly, and we'll all get back to our sort of lives of and things. So where would we be now if we didn't have our house?
Basically, if we didn't have the house, we'd be sat on my parents' driveway, which wouldn't be too bad in a way, because then we could, you know, help out and look after them, and would be there for them and spend time with them.
But could we though? Because they are very high risk. So, I mean, I guess if we only stayed on your parents' driveway
and didn't leave
and isolated ourselves beforehand, so we didn't have it. But then you've got to go out and go and get your shopping and do things like that. So it's tricky. But I mean, I guess that's where we would be if we didn't have a house.
Well, we couldn't be anywhere else, could we? Because you know, you have to be on private land or parked on a friend's driveway. If we're in the UK, we would be with family.
Yeah.
And trying to do our bit. But we're not. We have a house, so we're in it.
And we're glad of it.
Yeah.
And you know, in the future, I think Nick and I will definitely be full-time van lifers in the future, for sure, as long as the world permits it.
As long as we're free to travel.
As long as we can do the travelling thing, definitely.
But after this virus is over, and it will be over, if Brexit does happen, then we are going to choose Spain.
It's all just so uncertain right now. Nobody knows what's going on, and for British people, with Brexit as well, it's even more uncertain. So, anyways...
Enjoy every day. Take every day as it comes.
Yeah.
Enjoy every moment you can.
I think with the coronavirus happening, it just goes to show how quickly your life can completely change, doesn't it? You know, no one's seen this coming at all. So you've just really got to make the most of today, make the most of
tomorrow,
the here kind of thing, and just stay positive, and well, that's it.
Yeah. So for all those full-timers out there, I hope you found somewhere safe to park on family members' drive or a friend's drive,
or on a nice plot of private land, and you're kind of managing in your van during lockdown, as well as everyone else in houses. Whether you're in a house or a van, please stay safe, everyone. This will not be forever.
So take care, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and
hope you enjoy the Easter holidays. By the way, we've got some exciting Easter holiday plans, haven't we?
Yeah.
Starting right after this video. But you'll have to wait and see to find out what those plans are in the next video. Obviously, because this one's ending now.
So thanks for watching. Be safe, be happy, be positive, and we'll see you in the next one.
And I think after this virus, happening
Outtakes.
And I think with COVID-19.
Yeah.
So